Operation Old Man. The Democrats, while Trump is surging, Trump is going to F1 races, Trump is hanging out at UFC fights, Trump is going to Chick-fil-A, Trump is going to McDonald's, Trump is going to Harlem, Trump is crushing it. Everywhere he goes, he brings the house down. Everybody loves him. He's getting MAGA chants. He's going all over the place in Trump Force One. And this is what the Democrats' plan is right here.
Operation Old Man is a go. The White House is still cooking up new ways to hide or minimize President Joe Biden's advanced 81-year-old age. But it appears to be backfiring as Americans give another scathing assessment of his fitness for office. According to the latest survey, an overwhelming 81% say Joe Biden is too old for another term. We already know how his staff gives Joe the shorter staircase for him to board Air Force One, how they deploy an army of aides to hide his shuffling, and who can forget how they lace up the president in anti-slip sneakers as a way to prevent embarrassing falls. And now Team Biden is admitting that they police how many words the man can say.
The campaign is looking to shorten its speeches. Biden's general election strategy is less is more. The president's aides are seeking to tighten his pitch to voters.
Less is more. Less Joe Biden talking is more. While Trump is out here crushing it everywhere he goes, they are definitely trying to get Biden into the bunker mentality, just like when they had COVID. It was easy to pull this off. It was very easy to pull this off with COVID. Now, not so much. This is not going to go well for them.
Shorter, crisper speeches.
Our campaign believes in quality over quantity. We believe that these...
Oh, God. Quality over quantity. Nobody believes this. Nobody that matters actually believes this. Nobody. Unbelievable.
Touches the smaller things that are getting directly to the point about what is going on in the stakes of this election are going to be easier for voters to tap into.
Joe's old press secretary, Jen Psaki, says Biden should actually shun more traditional media interviews and have his ego stroked by media sycophants like Howard Stern.
What would your advice be to the White House in terms of his accessibility to press?
My view is he should come on The View
Before he does a press conference.
because he should, because people want to have real conversations about issues that are happening. I think press conferences are important, but I also think him doing Howard Stern, that's an interview that reached a broader audience.
I know people do listen to Howard Stern because he's Howard Stern, but it can't be anything remotely close to what it used to be. It has to be a shell of himself with the audience that he has now. Do we have any idea what Howard Stern's numbers are now? Is he still on like Sirius XM or what? Where's the main place you can even find? Is he on, Spotify? Like, where is Howard Stern? Like, there's no way Howard Stern is even hitting half of what Joe Rogan hits. There's no way. There's no way Stern is even hitting half of what Joe Rogan hits. But so that doesn't even seem like a relevant person to go to.
Of people. Him talking to the guys from Smartless, which is a great podcast.
I love that.
But the Trump campaign thinks the more Trump, the better. The former president revving up supporters at this year's Formula One Miami Grand Prix. All right, Jesse, I'll start with you. Isn't Joe Biden's campaign admitting that Joe Biden is incapable of campaigning the way a president should?
Yeah, I mean, the Democrats have gagged both candidates. They won't let Trump...
Okay, that was good. That was good, Jesse Waters. That was good. One more time.
Good?
Yeah, I mean, the Democrats have gagged both candidates. They won't let Trump talk because he tells the truth, and won't let Biden talk because he tells stories about his uncle being eaten by cannibals.
Holy shit. The Democrats have gagged both candidates. Holy shit, that was a good one.
This worked, they think, because in COVID it made Biden look safe, and it made Trump look reckless, and it made the whole election more of a referendum on Trump and not a choice. But when you're president, you can't be kept away from crowds. You can't be kept to 6-minute scripted speeches to the camera. You're just going to look like a brittle, detached king afraid to face his subjects. So Trump goes out to Formula One. That takes courage, takes confidence, it takes a certain level of energy and relatability. And if Joe Biden went there, the risk would be too high. He could trip. He could get booed. He couldn't hear a thing. And if you ask me, in terms of voters being able to tap into something, I think it's more effective to see someone being able to work a crowd or a crowd work a guy than to just read something off of a script that a consultant wrote for you and then leave. American people see Donald Trump running for president and Joe Biden running scared. He's not even in control of his own campaign. He wants to talk. He wants to talk all day, and they won't let him. He's not even allowed to walk where he's supposed to walk. Trump can walk wherever he wants, can say whatever he wants. Joe Biden can't do either. And now you realize why
this will be a massive backfire for the Democrats. And I don't know if they don't even have any other choice. They have zero choice anyway. What can they do? I mean, I guess the only two options is, okay, we can either put this guy in hiding or we can put him in front of the cameras so he can embarrass us even more. It's probably the best option of the two options they have, but neither option is going to be a good option for them. So, yes, I guess out of the two, they're making the better decision out of the two, but neither one of these decisions is good. And what this does confirm is that Biden truly is gone. He's gone. He's not there. He's completely gone. He doesn't know where he's at. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And they are confirming that by the fact that they're trying to hide him. But the reality of it is he's not running the country anyway. He never was. And we know that. But they're confirming that he is completely gone.
He's down in the polls. It's because everybody is realizing that Trump is more appealing, and he's eating away at Joe Biden's base. He's now ahead in both the 538 battlegrounds and the Real Clear Politics. Harold?
Okay, Harold. I'll go to you next.
Good to be back. He got out of the gates like Mystic Dan did. You came firing out of the gates here at the start of it. Well, I'll let you ask the question.
Well, really, I mean, if you think about it, if Joe Biden gets reelected, how is he going to run this country in the next 4 years if he can barely make it through this year?
Judge, you already know the answer to that question. You know he's not running the country to begin with. He hasn't been running the country. He didn't even run his own damn campaign in 2020. He hasn't been there for a long time. The thing is can they convince people in the middle? And that's where this is all falling apart. They're failing to convince people in the middle that he's actually competent enough. That's what they're failing to do.
I'm sure he'll figure it out. But I'd say this. Jesse pointed out a lot of numbers, and the last numbers are out about the polling data from Real Clear Politics. I think you said 538. I was on another show this morning with one of the co-hosts of this show, her 9 a.m. show, and who I was paired up against, Guy Benson, made the point that President Trump is ahead in some of these polls, but when you look at likely voters, President Biden is ahead by, I think, 3 or 4 points nationally. But the other thing was a national poll also. So I think a couple things. This race will be decided, according to Axios, by 6% of voters in Pennsylvania, which is not a state, the Commonwealth, Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, Georgia, and Arizona. Billions of dollars will be spent trying to persuade those people, that small group of voters, which is the case in just about every election. And I think what it really points to is the only certainty in this election right now is the uncertainty of the outcome. I don't differ with your numbers and your sense, and you certainly have a theory of the case about the race, but I think this thing is tight. It will remain tight. And I think one of the things, and we talked about...
You can keep wishfully thinking all you want, and that's fine. Fox needs, somebody to, I guess, offset the obvious opinions there, but that's exactly what he's doing.
Will be, and I'll be curious to hear the reaction around the table, is when the trial gets over here, and I think that'll be over sooner rather than later, and thus far I'm not seeing anything that would suggest former President Trump would be convicted. But when that is over with, I think the calls for debate between these two candidates will only increase. And whichever candidate is refusing to, or seems reluctant, or is demurring about debating, I think he will face some polling data that shows that people want to see the both of them engage.
And, you know, Trump's going to take full advantage of that. Trump is going to take full. I mean, he's already done it already. I mean, he basically said, like, I'll come to the White House. That's the best place for you. You come to the courthouse. I'll debate you anytime, anywhere, any place. He's already said that. He's already playing it up. And, of course, Biden just, I mean, he doesn't even, I don't even think Biden knows that Trump said that. And I'm not even joking. I don't think Biden knows that Trump said that.
And I've said those 3 dates, which I think are important: Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day. But even before that, if they don't get us a calendar for when they will stand on a stage together and debate the serious issues confronting the country and what they would do, to your point, Judge, over the next 4 years, and this is the first time we've had 2 guys running who have been president in contemporary times, I think will be a decider in this race in a lot of ways. And whomever says they don't want to debate will be at a disadvantage in the minds of voters in those 6 states that are most critical.
You know, Dana, Trump is beating Biden in virtually every category: immigration, the economy, crime, foreign policy. And yet his team thinks the way to handle that is for him to talk less.
Their polling must be so bad. I mean, can you imagine? Like, you can't tell me that they wouldn't prefer to have the option to send Joe Biden to the Formula One race and get cheered.
I can't listen to Dana Perino without thinking about the fact that she worked for George W. Bush, and I despise George W. Bush with every bone in my body. So no matter what Dana Perino ever does, all I think about is warmonger George W. Bush. That's all I ever think about with her. She will never escape that in my mind.
That's just not realistic. I think Jen Psaki is giving them some pretty good advice. I mean, like, when you have not much, when the cards you have to play are the ones that they have, then yeah, you should go on Howard Stern and the Smartless podcast and call it a day and just hope that the basement strategy can go through. But a couple of other things is that you have all of these people that support Joe Biden saying he should do something else. So we've heard lots of different ideas for him. I'm guilty of it. I try to give ideas through the TV for everybody on communications. But Ro Khanna, the congressman from California, said, I think Joe Biden should go to the colleges where there are protests and give a speech. And I thought, under the Genocide Joe flag?
Oh, please go for that one, Joe. Please go where they're having all of those protests. That would be fantastic. That would be the best thing ever. Please make that happen. And I think she's about to make that point right here.
Colleges where there are protests and give a speech. And I thought, under the Genocide Joe flag? And I don't know if that's going to work. And also, what about Kamala Harris? She was on a big college tour. What was her purpose? To talk about abortion. I don't think she was a former prosecutor. Does she not want to talk about college campus issues? Is she unable now to go and talk about abortion on college campus because they're going to be called Genocide Joe? There's a lot of things like that. The other thing is, I'll end with this. You mentioned like debates, right? Imagine the scenario that they want Biden to talk so little that they figure out an excuse and they believe that it's okay for them to say they're not going to debate Trump and they're going to move on. But what if RFK Jr. says, I'll debate Trump? And now you have the network saying, well, we got to have a presidential debate. And if RFK Jr. is on the ballot in these several battleground states, could make the difference for the election. Imagine that. You have RFK Jr. and Trump in a debate, and Biden's kicking it in Wilmington.
Whoa, I didn't think about that. And that will not help Biden. That will only hurt Biden. That will help Trump and RFK, and I think RFK's a fucking clown. But that would hurt Biden significantly if he doesn't even show up. If he doesn't even show up and it's an RFK and Trump debate, that only hurts Biden significantly. It hurts him significantly. It doesn't hurt Trump because you know Trump's going to go out there and he's going to be a showman and he's going to dazzle everybody with his one-liners and everything. Trump will go out there and he will be amazing. I will mute every time RFK talks. It's like nails on a chalkboard. It's painful to listen to him. I would almost listen to Kamala Harris talk over RFK. And I'm not even joking. And that's a serious statement that I never thought I would say. But I mean, It's bad. It's bad. He just sounds like a leaf blower. Like, that's what RFK sounds like. He said every time he talks, he sounds like a leaf blower with some muffled words coming through the leaf blower. It's terrible. It's awful. But if that happens, and RFK will probably try to take advantage of that, that would be massively detrimental to Biden.
You know what, Greg? That's fascinating. What's your take on that?
Oh.
Well, you know what? I think it's sad when your supporters want to see you less. I mean, if I really like something, I don't prefer to have it hidden unless it's a really bizarre fetish. But his handlers say their reasoning is they want quality over quantity with Joe, and it's like, how do you choose that with Joe? I mean, how do you choose quantity over quality with when the substance itself is crap? Less isn't more with poop. It's still poop. And I'm sure when Trump showed up at Formula One, the media accused him of being all about race. But I want to mention the polls to you. Trump is leading in inflation, crime, border, foreign policy. These are all things that are measurable. Biden has an edge in the unquantifiable, which is the personality, hence the trials, which the media can shape a narrative over, minus the numbers. But what can be measured by the population, by your ears and your eyes, is function. You know, it's like pornography, you know it when you see it. And the more opportunity there is to see it with Biden, the worse it gets, which is why they're trying to localize it like mold in a basement. It reminds me of me when I played Little League. You know, the more options I had to participate in the game, the worse it was for my team. So they had me play one inning in right field, and then I could pinch run for the fat kid. That was it. They kept me out of the action, but they wanted me to feel included in all of this, which made me feel good. Meanwhile, Trump is out there, right? Even when they're trying to hold him back, he's out there. He's the most transparent candidate on earth, the reverse of everything the Dems have been saying. In fact, it's the Dems who are now functioning under this veil, this lack of transparency. And I think it's why Trump was able to tell you everything about how stuff works. He can't be behind the scenes. He is the scene. Meanwhile, Biden has to hibernate. And it's just the irony of saying how secretive and false Trump is. But Trump put himself in a glass cage. He can't hide anything. He accepted that role. He embraced it. Biden got the role, and he's running, as you say.
I want to hear more about you in right field.
I want to know what they call your league now.
Oh, that's true. What do they call a little league?
I don't know.
Little league.
Oh, really?
Well, that's good stuff. That point Dana Perino made was pretty interesting. I hadn't really thought about that, but that's a very, very interesting situation to think about. So fascinating indeed.